Chad's the name, and easy Astro images, of course, is the game. And if anybody can invent a process for a one-button click to make something happen in Pixinsight or Photoshop, whatever, I'm all about it. But there's just some things we have to do to put the work in. And as you get more confident with your skills, Pixinsight, you're gonna start to understand. And two of those things that you really need to start to understand is masking and how to use the curves tool. Video I recently made of the Veil Nebula. You may have not seen it, I'm not sure, but link to it right here. I did an extensive amount of curves, transformations, and masking using range masks, color masks. There's way more masking that is built into Pixinsight that you can do. The game script, for example, is incredibly cool and powerful. Now, I could teach you how to do some of this stuff for sure, and you will get the idea. I promise you that. But until you actually watch some of the masters of Pixinsight, like Adam Block, for example, who I am a subscriber to of his online fundamentals course materials, you really will not even begin to understand how what even more you can do with masking. It's like super incredible. I clipped this video out of that Veil Nebula for people that didn't watch the whole thing or just want to learn about how to do this process and have a good, effective demonstration. There's a lot of different things that you can do with these tools. While I'm manipulating colors and brightnesses and all that stuff, you can actually change hues to create your own palettes, all of that kind of stuff. So it's not just what I did in this video. Keep that in mind. Go ahead and enjoy this for the next few minutes, and we will see you back at the end. Now that this is all done, it'd be a good time for you to maybe clone the image, save an image off, something like that. So that way, if you want to come back, you've already got all that work done, and you can start playing around with mixing and playing with all the various color palettes. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just go right in to the curves transformation, real-time preview, bring up the histogram, and we'll go ahead and just kind of pin this down and just darken the image just a tad, and we will start working on our curves. So we're not working on any color curves yet at all. We are working on our regular curves. Now, one thing you want to be really careful of with these images, I shot with the 10-minute exposures, and it may or may not have been an issue, but you got to watch and make sure you don't blow things out right away. You can see how if we start raising the highs right here, we are going to white really quick. So you just want to really be careful with your image here. So we'll go ahead and apply that curve. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give everything a little bit of saturation boost. So that way, when we run our color mask coming up after we do the HOO conversion, it will help us out a little bit on that. So we'll close curves for now. There we go. I said I wanted to do another HOO. I'm just really addicted to the HOO palette right now for some reason. I don't know why, but if you wanted to do something was a little bit more true color, you could just do some SCNR to take out some more of the green, and you'd be left over with that beautiful red and blue that is in the Veil Nebula. So we're going to be using Bill Blanchin's normalization, just going to be using his drag and drop pixel math here. You can use the process if you would like, but this works just fine. All right, there we go. HOO, man, looking good. You can see all the stuff that we picked up. I'm extremely happy with the amount of detail that we picked up here. You can just see all of the stuff that's going on. So again, feel free to start picking this image apart using Pickering's triangle, witch's broom, whatever you want to do. So let's go ahead and get started on all of this crazy curves work that we're going to do. First thing I want to do is we're going to be bouncing back and forth between making various yellow and blue masks. And don't get lost in all this masking and stuff, but it just kind of shows you the power of what it is. And it's really not hard. Stuff is simple and easy to do. You just got to take the time to do it and kind of figure things out a little bit. So right now the yellow is the thing that I really want to focus on. So we're going to go ahead and drag and drop and make ourselves a yellow mask. What we're looking at right there. I'm not going to like totally make it crazy or anything, but I want to blur it just a little bit so that way it doesn't really just kind of shock away everything. And what I want to do is I want to go in and actually brighten this up a tad. So that way it will kind of like protect a little bit more. Because the dimmer the mask is, the less it's going to protect. So let's just keep on going with that. And I think that's okay for our first pass. And maybe we'll just go ahead and apply a little bit more. And I closed it out, so that's not going to work. So let's go ahead and drag and drop our mask here. We can see the area that is being masked. So we're really not hitting all of the yellow. We're just kind of hitting some of it. And then this stuff is just getting through. We'll park that yellow mask over here. You don't need to worry about hiding everything if you pull up curves. Curves real-time preview is just going to hide the mask for you anyway. So that'll save yourself a step. Now, what I want to make sure I do is I grab these areas right here, and you can see that our yellows and stuff are really kind of going up into the mids. So I want to pin that down right there, and I want to start basically trying to pop out a little brightness out of that yellow. Again, got to be very gentle with this to make sure that we don't blow everything away. And we're going to just start adding a little bit of saturation into it. And feel free to add, obviously, to your image, as much saturation into this as you would like to, because you just cannot, in my opinion, get enough or do these HOO images wrong at all. They all just look just fantastic. So I'm constantly looking here, looking for a nice golden yellow, which I think we're at right there. And we'll go ahead and apply that, and then we'll get rid of this, close that down, and we're going to delete that mask because we're going to basically create another one down the road. So let's go ahead and now create a blue mask, and we're going to just drag and drop that right onto the image. And we're going to do the same thing. So you can see the blue mask has got all that blue in there. It's not super detailed. I think this time I'm just going to, again, just do one little blur on it. That's going to dim it a little bit. Come back into curves and then open the real-time preview. Select your RGBK and let's start brightening this mask up. So that way it will protect a little bit more. And we might have to hit this with a couple rounds. And if you find that you've kind of hit it a little bit too hard, then go ahead and dial it back a little bit. You can see the background showing up a little bit there, so we can pin that down. Bring this back up a little bit right here. Go ahead and hit that and close it again. And then we're going to apply that to the image. And here again, you can see we're hitting some of the blues. So this is the stuff that is going to give us details, because we're not covering all of the blues. We're not stretching out the entire blue thing all together. So let's just go ahead and add a little bit of saturation to those areas so we can see the blues getting bluer. Totally awesome. If we want to, we can just basically bump up the blue a little bit, and you can see that that is going to have a dramatic effect. So don't go super crazy. We can go back to the RGBK value, and this is going to increase both the color, the vibrance, and of course your luminance and everything all at once. But you got to see again that we're going to be coming dangerously close to kind of clipping out those blues that are in there and getting those things to white. I think the way that this was shot by me is it's just unavoidable that we're probably going to have some color clipping, but that is okay. That's just kind of the way it goes. So I'm going to get rid of this mask and remove it. And now we got a pretty good image here. Let's go into histogram transformation a little bit, just because I find this is the easy way to do it. And we're just going to bring up the black level just a little bit here. And I mean, you could try to always stretch it a little bit more if you wanted to, but I think we're good on the stretch. Just bring up the black level a little bit and go ahead and apply that. And then what that is going to allow us to do is we'll go ahead now and go into range mask. And I want to see if we can capture all of the data that is just in here and not the background. So that way we can just kind of play with everything all at once. So let's go ahead and reset that tool. And we're going to move this lower limit over here until we start getting all of the cool stuff in the actual image to about right there. Looks pretty good. And let's go ahead and let's just smooth it out a little bit here. Don't need to get super crazy. And we will create that mask just now. Get rid of that. And let's go ahead and apply that and see what we're looking at. So we're getting a lot more of the area now this time. So let's go ahead again and open up curves transformation. And this is just me doing me right now. You can go ahead and do you. And there's so much more that you can do with these images. I want to add a little bit overall color into everything and just make things pop. Really liking the way that looks right now. Go ahead and apply that, close that out. And if you want to, you could actually invert the mask, take a look at what's going on here, and you can see that we're pretty much covering everything, but we're not covering all of this faint yellow right here. I really want that faint yellow. So this is where I would love to be able to combine or subtract different masks. So that way easily, very hard to do, but that would allow me to pull a little bit of this more out. So that's really what I want to focus on right now. So let's get us another yellow mask and let's see what we can do. We can see that the yellow mask is picking some of it up here. Now, the problem that we're in is that if we start pulling up curves and applying things in order to pull this out, we're also going to pull this out. Now, at this point, what we could do is you could use the clone stamp tool and you could go in here and color all of this white out to black and just make an actual mask of this stuff right here. That's one little hack to kind of make that happen. I'm just going to go ahead and apply this right now, and let's see what we can get going on as far as bringing any of that extra stuff out up there. So it's a very, very high level signal. Well, actually, it's a very low level signal. Apologize. So we've got the mask on there. We don't have to worry about affecting the background. So let's just see what happens if we pull. Let's just pull this, yank it up. So we're yanking this thing up and we can see that some of that is coming out for us. And I don't really see, you know, it's pulling up the low level signals. And so we're getting a little bit different stuff going on inside of the nebula. So again, this is kind of something that you just got to kind of do what you are trying to do. If you want to focus on the main veil, awesome. If you want to focus on the big picture, even better. But I really just want to keep on trying to pull some of that stuff out. And you can do this a couple times, and then you could go back again and create another yellow mask or another blue mask and invert it, all that kind of stuff. Try to actually pull that out. It's kind of up to you. Let's see if we can get the low level saturation coming out. Saturation is not doing a whole lot down there. It's coming out though. So we've definitely got it. So I'm happy with that. Go ahead and get rid of that. And again, let's delete the mask. And I believe once again, let's go ahead and delete this blue mask. And let's delete this yellow mask so we do not get confused on anything. And I want to try to go back and hit the blues again. So let's make another blue mask. There we go. Just going to go ahead and drag and drop and apply it. We're definitely capturing more of the blue now than we did earlier because of the way things are going. And you can see that we've, you know, it's blending in a little bit here. It's picking up some of the blue, not all of it, but that's fine. Again, it's going to give us a little bit of depth and detail and all that kind of stuff. So let's go and focus on this blue right here, which is kind of right there in the middle. So what happens if we pull up the saturation? We can see that that's getting bluer. What's going on with the rest of my nebula? Working on these wide field images is definitely a little bit more challenging. I guess that's okay. I don't really have a problem with that. And let's go and apply the histogram here so we can see what we're working on. It always makes things easier. I don't want to pull these anymore. So let's put a point right here to hold that down. And let's just drag this up right here from the bottom and see what that does. It's giving us a little bit. So we'll go ahead and just stop it right there. You kind of got to know when to say when, and enough is enough. And we don't want to make this video forever, but I'm pretty sure you guys get the idea. So I hope that was an effective demonstration for you guys. I certainly am happy with the results that I got out of it, and it just builds more confidence every time you do stuff like this. The most coolest thing that I got out of this tutorial as I was making it was going back and forth between the different yellows and blues, alternating between them, creating different levels of the masks as you've seen. Very, very powerful. And that will happen in nearly every Astro image that you do. Hopefully we get some even better masking tools in the future. It would be amazing. So until next time, guys, appreciate you all. Love you and peace.